Good morning, good evening, whatever it is to you. Today we are going into the arena and we are playing with Scrapyard Sacrifice, the 9th episode in the series covering the new starter decks for the 2024 season. This deck is an interesting one. It is a deck that I was kind of negative about, but after seeing how it actually operates in the arena, the synergies that are intertwined with it, I've come to change my mind a bit. And let me explain exactly what this deck is trying to do. Then we're going to go over the rares, and then I'm going to show you why this deck is actually pretty solid in the arena. So, first off, you have access to things like Rankle and Torbrand to sacrifice creatures. You have access to things like Stormclaw Rager, Final Flourish, and Corrupted Conviction, which allows you to sacrifice your own creatures in order to get a benefit on the field. Starting with Rankle and Torbrand has become one of my favorite cards in the deck because you could create treasure, you could sacrifice creatures, you could do +2 damage. It just does a lot of things to affect the board state and grow our mana. We need to have a lot of mana because we want to keep bringing the Sanitarium Skeleton back to our hand over and over again, and that costs 3. So definitely overweight position for this card when it's out. Also, you sacrificing a creature does not matter. Your opponent sacrificing a creature, however, with the very limited card draw in starter deck duels area of arena, it's a real feels bad moment for the opponent. Every single asset is important. Things like the Senior Connoisseur grow by 1 every time a creature dies, but it only triggers once per turn. So sacrificing 2 creatures in 1 turn doesn't really help the Senior Connoisseur. But Corrupted Conviction is an instant and can be played on the opponent's turn, so keep that in mind when you're thinking about your blocks, what spells you want to cast, etc., etc. This grows by 1/1, and same with the Gixian Infiltrators. These grow by 1/1 every time you sacrifice another permanent. And that's not limited to just once per turn. You can sacrifice Power Stones, which you could get with Ashnod Flesh Merchant, or Treasure, which you could get with Rankle and Torbrand, or creatures, which you get from the rest of the cards in your deck. It also goes along really well with Urabrask Forge because the X1 that you create, the Phyrexian Horror creature token with Trample and Haste, sacrifices at the end of the next end step anyway. Therefore, these guys are really easy to grow, and it's something that's tempting for your opponent to remove from the board, but there are so many other things that they want to remove as well. So the options, and this deck gives plenty of options. It basically punishes your opponent for whatever they want to do on their turn. Last thing we want to talk about before we jump in there, start looking now for what we're doing with Stormclaw Rager and the Sanitarium Skeletons. Fantastic combo to keep a creature on the field. For 4, you could put for 5, because you have to pull him from the graveyard, put him on the field, and then sack him. But you get a 1/1 counter on a Stormclaw Rager and draw a card. This gives us the ability that for 5 mana, we could put a 1/1 counter on Stormclaw Rager and draw a card every single turn. Especially later on in the game, this is incredibly helpful. Card draw is incredibly important in Magic the Gathering, and this card allows us to do that in this particular deck. Cards I'm not super sold on. Charforger, don't like it in here. Don't like it. It hasn't really done much for us. Philology Antiquarian. First off, this is an alchemy card. Second off, it's not that great. And that's basically where I stand with this deck. Let's get into the arena. I'll show you the synergies that are intertwined within this deck in and of itself. And I will talk to you in the post-game wrap about how it actually did. Thank you for joining today. Make sure that you've liked the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the arena. We are playing some Scrapyard Graveyards. Let's see here. Infiltrator is okay. Ashnod's Intervention is okay. Stormclaw Rager is very nice, though. We need something that we can sack. Start off with the Bog. And pass back to the opponent. Huh. Pretty good draw for us. The only problem is that we have all this tap land that we have to get through. It's just part of these opening decks. Mana. Pass. Okay. He has to get through his tap lands as well, so another good deck for the opponent. Swing. And Infiltrator? Nah, give me the familiar. Yes, sir. We actually might use Ashnod's first ability here. Okay, Navigator coming to play. Dropping the Infiltrator, swinging. Let's sack it. Next. Blocks? No. Takes one. And I guess we pass back to the opponent. Celebron the Wise. Good stuff. Do we block? Navigator is an elf, which makes the Celebron the Wise better. We have Ashnod's Intervention, which I think we use. It returns it to my hand. I draw mana, which is fantastic. Drop the Rager. And let's draw a card. We got another Rager. And no attacks. Just pass back to the opponent. He can't really swing through that Ashnod. Tribute to the World Tree. Very, very, very strong card. Especially these starter deck duels. Tribute to the World Tree. Very good. Impede Momentum. Well, I don't want to wait 3 turns just to sacrifice more creatures, so we will sacrifice the Rager here. He does not get to scry, so nah, nanny nanny boo boo. Down to 3 cards. Testament Bearer looks pretty good. We're playing a very, very, very defensive game here against our opponent, which is fine. Testament Bearer, pretty solid. And I think we're able to start swinging here. Do not sacrifice a Testament Bearer, not yet. He needs to block the Celebron. Another Impede Momentum, gee whiz. Had both of them. I think there's only 2 in the deck, so he had them both. Fight down, and we are at your mercy, sir. We could Final Flourish on this, and I think we do. And he is out of cards. So not quite at your mercy. We have a full hand of cards. Yep, do it here. Sacrificing the Bearer. Looking at the top 3, we're probably trying to go with the Charforger here. Our land is okay. It's not perfect. It's not great, but it is something that we could deal with. Let's go with the Charforger. Creates a 1/1. Pass the turn. And what do you have in store? Got 2 cards in hand still. Elvish Farsight. So a little bit desperate. 3 to the bottom. Gets the Guide. It's a pretty good card. It's really good in this situation as well. Scries a couple. Draws a card. Drops a mana. And bite down. Huh. That's kind of strange, right? Well, we're going to start the Forge up. We're going to also start up a Varan. And this combination, Varan and the Forge, is a very strong. Let's just swing in. Yeah, whenever one or more creature dies, he's definitely going to die. Our little sacrificial lamb, if you would. Arrowhead, he's finally got a card. Oh no, it's already bigger. Well, we block here. Gain 2 life, you lose 2 life. Alright, passes the turn. Oh, you know what? Getting the skeleton here is fantastic. We also get an etched familiar. We're going to go ahead and put them down now. He doesn't have any cards in hand, so there's no tricks that he could play. Might as well play a little bit sloppy. Kind of throws your opponent off a little bit too sometimes. Yep, down to 10. We're at 23. Opponent. It's kind of nice, especially if he swings every turn here, because we can literally just throw the skeleton out in front of something. Huh. No cards in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5, 6. Alright, well, we'll double block this. No, not with the Vran. What am I doing? There we go, with the skeleton. These guys, sacrificial lambs. Don't care. Well, you go ahead and lose 4 life, and we gain 4 life. Well, first things first, we create a 3-1 and swing. Let's see what he does here. He blocks it. All right, well, that's going to change what we're going to do. Infiltrator. Skeleton. Infiltrator. Go wide, baby. I guess next turn we could literally just all swing, though it's not going to be nearly as fun as doing other things to this poor guy. Elven Farsight once again, 3 to the top. Strange gets the Chance Met Elves, a very good card for this deck. Draws a card. What did you draw? He passes. Well, alright. The correct move is probably swing all. 2, 4. Yeah, we will have 4 creatures, 5 creatures swinging. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What am I even thinking about? This is a swing. This is a full swing at your face, baby. Sure. You might take my Vran. You might take my Phyrexian thing. But I take your life. Down to -1. It worked pretty well that time. All black mana. Smart man would mulligan. But me, I'm going to keep. Because we have a skeleton, we have Corrupted Conviction. If we can't draw mana by turn 3 or 4, we probably sack the thing. Well, that's not bad. Oh, swing in. Pass. It's an instant. Okay, so we got the Growing Hope deck that we're facing. That's fine. Tap lands for the opponent all the way through. We pass back to us, and we draw the red. Never didn't have it. And pass. The Spire. Okay. I wanted to kind of hold up the Rager there because I'm afraid that if I put this out, it dies. But him playing this, he's slow playing like crazy. So we swing. And since I could only do this as a sorcery, we're going to do it. Let's sack the skeleton. He gets a 1/1 counter running. We draw a land, which is fantastic. We need land. Kami. Cute. Cute. Swing. Are you into blocking? Thinking about it. Huh. So I think that this is a good trade for us. Target creature gets +2/+2. If this spell was kicked, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. And that's 2 1/1 counters. So he kicks it. He trades off his mana ramp. Oh boy. Well, we'll take that any day of the week, right? Go out with the Char Forger. This is an instant. That's perfect. Pass the turn. I think that's a fair trade, guys. That's completely fair. We could have sacked our guy, but Why? I mean, we're getting his mana ramp off of the field. Go to my turn? All right. Well, before my turn starts, I want to sacrifice this thing. Put a charge counter on Charforger, draw 2 cards, 2 lands, and we'll go out with the Springs. Couple of things. We could just drop the Connoisseur right here and swing, right? We could also do some shenanigans getting the Skeleton back on the field, but then just having the Charforger on the field. I wanted to play Rankle, but we really want to have things to sacrifice for Rankle, and our opponent still hasn't really played any creatures. He drops a mana, and what? You got to do something, Mr. Opponent. Nothing, nothing, nothing. All right, well, we will continue to build, and swing. Do we want to do any of these? Yes, do that. I mean, we're going to take the win here. Bad block with the Kami of Whispered Hopes. Yeah, you had a trick, but who cares? Citizen's Arrest on the Rankle. That's fine. Bushwhack. Come on, man. Like, that's not how you do it. I gotta remove 3 oil counters from it. He's down to 2 cards. His deck wants to not do that. Swing, drop the Senor Connoisseur. We could Final Flourish, but he doesn't have any creatures, so... The Juniper. Order Root Weaver. Kicked. Kicked. Puts a 1/1 on itself. And, of course, he gets another 1/1 with Uzalith. Now, Bushwhack. All right. Well, we will do this. That's why we hold that kind of stuff up, guys. So he just wasted his entire turn. And we keep our Senor Connoisseur. Go to my turn. A Final Flourish, and he scoops it up. All right. We got this deck back to even. 2-2 now. 2-2. I guess that's one way to win with this deck is let your opponent smash himself into us as hard as humanly possible and die in the process. That is one way you can win with this deck. And here we go. Urbrass Forge in opening hand. That means keep, especially with Vran right on the other side of it. Let's see what kind of deck he's playing before we really dedicate to if we're going to put the Vran down first or if we're going to hold up and get other things removed throughout the process of the game, then respond with Vran a little bit later. Blossoming Sands. Let's get the Gixian Infiltrator down. And he doesn't seem to have the deck that's going to have the oomph to kill a lot of my things. The Banalish Knight Counselor. Interesting choice of cards there, sir. Drop the Forge eventually. There he goes. Creates a 1/1. Ahaha. Here he is. And swing. Sorry, that might have sounded a little bit awkward. Waiting for the opponent to take turns. A little bit slow on the uptake. Playing on full control. See? Taking a minute. Taking a minute. Planes. Dropping Trumpeter. That's the mana ramp, right? No, that's not. Okay, dropping that. Dropping Executioner. Passing to combat, swinging in for 2. Do you block, sir? You do not. We will then sacrifice that. You'll lose 2 life, we gain 2 life, we put a 1/1 counter on the Infiltrator, we draw 2 lands, we drop the Sanitarium Skeletons, and pass turn. This still blocks the Banalish Knight Counselor. You thought you were the 1/1 counters deck, didn't ya? Didn't ya? Well, let me introduce you to Gixian Infiltrator and the Urabrask's Forge. This is incredible. Before anything happens, we actually want to play the Senior Connoisseur first. Fight spell? Anything? Okay. It resolves. We create a 3/1. We swing with said 3/1, and we hold everything else back. Because we don't need to be aggressive with this deck. We can just sit back and blast them with the Forge over and over again. Down to 13 there, sir. Now we sacrifice it. This is so good that it happens automatically instead of having to put counters on things and all that and physical cards. Down to 11, and we pass back to the opponent. He has to have a fight spell in hand. Problem is he's going to have to throw the Recluse at it. Oh, he's got Citizen's Arrest. Well, my bad. You did not take the Senior Connoisseur? Huh. Interesting. Okay, well, that is your prerogative. Can't really, I don't mind. I do not mind. We'll swing in with the Urabrask Forge, little Phyrexian Horror, 4 more damage to the face. And then, so that the opponent doesn't get any ideas, we're going to sack this, kill the Recluse. I want the Recluse to die rather than anything else because of that Death Touch. And Reach. That's really strong. It kills our Connoisseur. Now, if he does not remove Senior Connoisseur, and I don't think this deck is capable of handling it, he dies. Dead. Dead to the world. Dead to me. Next match. Drops a Brawler. Tries a Bushwhack. Okay. Kill the Skeleton? No, he just grabs land. Okay. A little stuck on land. And, yeah, we're looking pretty good here. Finish off the opponent. Opponent says good game and scoops it up. After dropping the first 2 matches, we have won the next 3 in a row. This deck's alright whenever you get it really going. Sanitarium Skeleton never looked so good. Skeleton, Power Stone Fractures, pretty good combo. Etch Familiar, and the Rager. Not a bad hand. We can't have the Forge every single time, right? That would just be redonkulous. Tapped land for the opponent, tapped land for us, and here we go. Let's get both tap lands out of the way. I don't mind putting the Skeleton out on turn 2. Opponent had tapped land as well, so it didn't really put us that far behind. Not in this format. Watcher. Interesting. We drop our 3rd mana. We swing. Opponent takes it. And we follow up with a Rager. Now, he can swing effectively here, no matter what, because we're not blocking with our Rager. But does he know that? That's the real question. Okay, so he gets a Scry, so we can't block that anyway. Opponent needs to keep a land on the top, but if he has a creature to put on the very top, he gets to draw a card with the Elven Farsight. Let's see if he draws. He does not. So, a little bit of a whiff. We take 3. And we're able to swing here pretty effectively. Go in and do the deed. A couple of different things we can do. We can just drop this and go, or we can sack it, this, return it to our hand, and then drop that next turn. Man, oh man. Maybe get rid of the Watcher. Watcher's really good in that deck. I think I'm going to do it the fun way. Hey, we're Rakdos. We're killing our own things. Golly darn. And drawing some cards in the process, so, I mean... just what we do. That's what we do as Rakdos, is we kill our own things. So we're going to play it like that. Opponent drops an Islet. Stalling for time here a little bit. And the Lost Calling. Worst card in the deck. Worst card. All right, we drew mana. That's awesome. Okay, so how do we want to do this? We want to be swinging in again. But I think we want to draw some cards as well. Never underestimate card draw. Sack it. Draws an Infiltrator. Swings for 4. And drops Familiar. I like it. I think it's fine. Next turn, we get Sanitarium Skeleton back out. Sack it, draw another card. Farsight. Okay, so we cannot block the Watcher here. That's his second Elvish Farsight. Did you put a creature on top? You did. You got it. That's a good one, too. We want to kill that. Swings in, gives us the business. We drop mana. Let's see if we can pull a block out of him. Can we pull a block out of you? Interest in a trade? Not even a trade, a chump? No, not interested in chumping. Down to 7 then. Well, we're going to do it like this. We don't want him scrying. Scrying's actually really good as well. Down to 5. Might as well clear his field out. That card draw off of the Rager is very good. Next turn we win. He needs to put a creature out. The way we have Fatal is, say we pick up the skeleton, drop the skeleton, sacrifice it. This becomes a 5/5. We swing for 5. So if he does nothing here, he plays a Glorfindel. That's fine. He survives next turn. Well, we're going to do it anyway. Pick up the skeleton, drop the skeleton, sacrifice the skeleton. Skeletons never done so much work. Corrupted Conviction. Swings for 5. Blocks. And then I guess we pass the turn. We definitely don't want to sack the Rager. We played 4 cards already. I guess opponent's played a few more. He's done good at keeping up on hand size. Yep, he's gone. Let's see. How did he actually do, though? Not great. Not great. He got tore up by Sanitarium Skeletons and the Stormclaw Rager. All right, let's do one more. Okay, so we have the Sanitarium Skeleton and the Rager combo again. So we keeps. And a drop tapped land. Turn 2 Skeleton, turn 3 Rager. Okay, well, get the skeleton rolling. Opponent. Island. What else? You have the Scry deck. Watcher. Alright, well, we drops the mana. We swings, try to get some block. No block. Well, we might as well kill that now. That saves us on a lot of damage throughout the game. This card is very good in limited formats. Very, very good. Mana. Arwen. That's probably better. Okay, and growing it. So we might be in a little bit of trouble with this one. I mean, we're over 500 with this deck now. 4 wins, 2 losses. So it's got to even out, right? Okay, black mana. Bearer looks good here. So does this, though. Let's go with the Bearer. Use all of our resources. Use all of our mana. And pass. Pass back to the opponent. I will trade off Testament Bearer in a heartbeat. He decides on the Chance Met Elves. Perfect. He passes. He passes back. Well, here we go. This is where we're going to show the true power of Rankle and Torbrand. Yes, comes in. Swings. Blocks. Negative, sir. Well, we create a treasure. Each player sacrifices a creature and that one. Let's just do them all. Sacrifice the Sanitarium Skeleton. He sacrifices the elves. And we jump in there for 6 damage. Greyhaven Navigator grows the Arwen, but that's a little bit too slow there, sir. You know what's really awesome? Getting this treasure. It allows us to cast our skeleton for basically free. So let's pick it up. Let's play the skeleton. Let's swing. You gotta block. Okay. Now. Treasure? Sack? No, don't sack. We'll just create treasure. Because he just sacked this negotiator here. Infiltrator. Infiltrator seems fine. Get the infiltrator rolling. End the turn. We could swing all again next turn. There's no way he wins this. Celebron the Wise. Interesting. Anything else, sir? I gave you a lot of treasure, so I don't know what you're complaining about. Go to my turn? Yes, sir. Infiltrator again. Well, we drop said infiltrator. And we swings. Right here. Gotta block what you can, man. Fine. We do the first strike damage. Now we're gonna sacrifice a creature. And sure. But when we sacrifice the creature, this grows large enough to kill the Celebron. Oh, he sacrificed the Celebron. Smart. Okay. Yeah. You got me. See, he did play it smart. Keep the Sanitarium Skeleton. Don't want to get rid of the treasure. Another Celebron the Wise. Cute. Watcher. Again, cute. We have just enough mana next turn to do Sanitarium Skeleton and the Senior Connoisseur, which I'm excited about. Let's drop the Skeleton. Let's drop the Connoisseur. Grows the Gixian Infiltrators. Swing. Opponent. No, he's not even going to play. Yep, each player sacrifices a creature. We deal 2 more damage, and opponent concedes. Okay. Hey, you know what? I got to say, maybe I'm turning around my thought on this deck, but it looks pretty good whenever you play it correctly. So, the deck did fairly well whenever we were actually in the matches. I mean, if you want to grind your daily wins with this, it's really good whenever you find ways to get your sack outlets and your benefits from sacking together. Especially Sanitarium Skeletons really played an overweight role in this build. I thought it was really good. I thought it did its job perfectly. Other cards to really talk about is Urbrass Forge. When it's on the field, we are going to win. eventually we will win. If we have this and a couple of guys to block the field, Urbrass Forge holds an overweight load in this deck as well. Varan, whenever Varan is on the field, no matter what, it is good because we are always sacking our creatures and letting them die. And probably the highlight of this entire deck was the 2 copies of Stormclaw Rager, which you get to draw extra cards every single turn and grow your Rager in the process. With the small amount of removal that we have to deal with in the starter deck duel area of Arena, Stormclaw Rager gets to stick to the field more chances than not, and our creatures all get to stick on the field, and we get to sacrifice them in the ways that we want to, which added the ability to actually pull off a lot of wins very consistently with this deck. If you want to see this deck upgraded, leave a like on this video. With 30 likes, we are going to upgrade this bad boy and make it actually do well in standard. Thank you for joining today. Make sure that you've liked the video and subscribed to the channel, and I will see you next time in the arena. Bye.